Send in the clowns.
Pardon me, is everybody here? Because if everybody's here, I want to thank you all for coming to the wedding. I'd appreciate you going even more. I mean, you must have lots of better things to do, and not a word of it to Paul. Remember, Paul, you know the man I'm going to marry, but I'm not, because it wouldn't ruin anyone as wonderful as he is. Thank you all for the gifts and the flowers. Thank you all. Now it's back to the showers. Don't tell Paul, but I'm not getting married today.
Randy's actually having a meeting right now with Stephen Sondheim.
What makes you the authority, bro? West Side Story, bro. What, bro? Sweeney Todd, bro. What, bro? What, bro? Merrily we roll along, bro.
Oh, I can hear you.
Hold on a second, guys.
I probably talked about everything at this point.
No,
I probably
no,
just
no,
have to like redo everything.
That was just the testing, everybody.
Oh my. I don't think is
I
anyone
tell you
even
what,
in chat.
Sometimes this microphone, I had a problem with it earlier today. I've had nothing but problems with this one.
You know what? I should order not now.
It's the
but...
blue one. It's everything about it sucks. Anyway, hi everybody.
Hi, welcome back.
Hey, we've got Ryan Hudson and Coffee Junkie 79 in the chat. Did you know that?
No, I have no idea.
I used to get musicals from our library
too.
Well, look on StreamYard. Are you?
I am. There's nothing there for me.
You can't see
wait,
this?
I have to know because I didn't click on live comments. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Trash the place. What's that mean, Ryan?
I think it's because of all the problems we're having right now.
Oh, okay.
He wanted to hear some good old Stephen Sondheim conversation. And
but yeah,
this is some lame stuff.
My library had an extensive, it wasn't my library, it was my grandparents' library, but it had an extensive collection of movie musicals, everything.
You said did you talk about your grandparents enough yet?
Not really. I was like just blah, 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 but just kind of a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
All right, so let me get this banner up for us, everybody. Here we go. Jill's Bonafides. What makes you an authority?
I wouldn't call myself an authority.
No, I'm just joking.
But I would say that almost, like I did say, like one of my first movie memories and my first musical memory was Wizard of Oz. So ever since then, I've loved musicals. And then I guess the next one I could remember was probably West Side Story.
Have you seen? No, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
your sister and you.
Yeah. One, I forget our ages, but we're definitely elementary school age, and she's about 2 years younger than me. We got gift cards for the warehouse, and we each got a movie, and I got West Side Story, and she got Grease. So those were two that we owned.
So how old were you?
Probably no older than 10. So she was no older than 8. We saw Grease at a very young age. But we're talking about Stephen Sondheim.
Grease is the word.
Not musicals in general.
Well, we're talking about stuff that you've seen, stuff that like shaped who you are.
My influences.
Yeah, sure. And you've seen a lot of stuff out on the there, right?
So because the Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals were huge for me. I loved Oklahoma, even State Fair. Flower Drum Song isn't my favorite. I like some of the songs in it, but just overall, it's not my favorite, even though it's set in San Francisco.
Wait, which one's set in San Francisco?
Flower Drum Song.
Okay.
It's about Chinese Americans in the 60s.
That would make sense.
Yeah, any Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, I loved it. Yeah. What's our next banner? My bona fides, my bona fides. I don't know. I've just always loved musicals.
I want to know, like,
I'm just kind of a weirdo.
Were you like in the play scene in high school and stuff like that?
What is it? Sophomore, junior, and senior year. I
did the musical. Just 3 out of the 4 years.
I did the musical, and it was fun. It was like some of my best high school moments, or fun times. Were doing the musicals.
Mm-hmm.
I just had fun. Let's see, we did. What was the first one? 42nd Street, not my favorite show. Guys and Dolls, and How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. Not the best musicals in the world, but it was fun.
Yeah. All right, awesome.
Yeah, Stephen Sondheim musicals aren't really made for high school productions necessarily.
I'm sure there's some versions of Grease out there, right?
Well, he didn't do that.
I'm just saying, going back to your
well, the Broadway version of Grease is pretty different than the movie. I mean, it has a lot of same moments, but it's pretty different. So yeah, what's next? What's next on?
I want to know what you've seen. What have you seen live? What have you been out to go?
Oh, what have I
witness
seen
live? Yeah,
just in my whole time, like all musicals.
Well, how about this? Are there any musicals that you've seen or that you know of that actually translate well to, like, the silver screen?
That's an interesting question because most of them don't, in my opinion.
I'm just curious.
I usually have no interest in seeing the movie versions of these things, especially because they cast people that who aren't singers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always upsetting. Like, I had no interest in seeing Into the Woods, the movie version. None. Zero interest. I have the stage version on DVD. I will just watch that over and over again. I'll listen to the album, and I'm perfectly fine. Right. I don't need to see non-singers doing that. I just don't get that.
Mm-hmm. So what have you seen live?
What have I seen live? I saw the original cast of Rent live.
Where was this?
In New York.
Only in New
Broadway.
York.
On Broadway.
No special engagement anywhere else?
No. I mean, there are things that I've seen around here. Like Phantom, I think I saw it here or whatever. One of the touring versions of Phantom. I saw Cats. Not a fan.
But you're really looking forward to that silver screen one, right?
No, I'd probably watch it just to be like, whoa, like just to see it. But I don't. No, of course I'm not excited about it. It's horrible. What else have I seen? Titanic the musical, not based off of the movie. People always are like, but it's a really great show. Just trust me. If you've never, the music in it's really nice.
I don't trust you.
If you're into music. In musicals, it has good music, and it has somebody in it. Stars this man named. It stars a lot of people. It's more of an ensemble cast, but this actor named Michael Severus. He's actually plays a bad guy in a CSI episode. But I've seen him in 3 different Broadway shows. Just the 3 times I went to New York, saw shows, I saw him in something each time. So I saw him in Titanic the first time I went, and I went to New York with my mom and sister once, and we saw a revival of Sweeney Todd. Speaking of Stephen Sondheim, who we're supposed to be talking about.
Well, you could have just gone to that and left it there, just to let you know.
He played Sweeney Todd in that.
Let's end it there.
Then I saw with my dad, which is kind of special, and my sister, like just super random. We saw Funhouse. And he plays the dad in that.
For any of you that know me as a comic book guy, that's an Alison Bechdel comic book.
Yeah.
All about her father and their ridiculous relationship, right?
I don't know about ridiculous. He's just he came out as gay later in life,
and then what happens?
Possibly committed suicide.
Yeah, it's all right. I was gonna say it was effed up. Yeah, I wasn't gonna say effed, but I did just now. So whatever.
It's unclear. But it's also about her growing up, being a lesbian, but not knowing what being a lesbian is, kind of.
Sure.
And then later in life, finding out that her and her dad have this connection that just wasn't even a connection. Because anyway, and they made a musical out of that, of all things.
Musical.
Again, some good music in that if you're into musicals.
All right.
Let's see, what else have I seen? I saw Lion King. I never liked the movie, but I really do like the Broadway show quite a bit. The music and the costumes and the staging just kind of make it like a very spectacular experience. That was the other thing about Titanic, the musical. The sets and the staging made the show. It's hard to explain, but they did everything really, really nice. What else? I've seen lots of other things. Oh, there's a musical called The Drowsy Chaperone. I know Yule probably knows most of these because I play them all the time, and he listens to them because he's a good guy. Yeah. I said
Tell him
before,
about that book I got you later. Anyway.
they're right. You mean those ones back there?
Oh, look at those.
Stephen Sondheim finishing the hat, and look, I made a hat in reference to Sunday in the Park with George, my other favorite Stephen Sondheim musical.
Wait, what was the first one?
Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd?
Yeah.
I thought A Little Night Music was your favorite. But she changed. She's told me that before. I'll have you know. She
probably have, but it depends on my mood. I like the music in that one, but if we're talking about, I like Sunday in the Park with George. If you're an artist, it's the themes of it. There's always some, like, heavy themes in Stephen Sondheim, usually. And usually it's about a man trying to struggle with certain things. Honestly, but
yeah.
What was I just talking about?
You're just talking about doing things, going to
Sunday in the Park. It's about an artist making art, and if you can imagine, like,
we're gonna get back to
an artist
rankings.
being consumed with art and how it takes over your life. It's a beautiful musical. The staging is really good, and it stars Mandy Patinkin and Bernadette Peters. Mandy Patinkin, one of the best. I love Mandy Patinkin.
We'll get back to him later, I'm sure.
Okay, so what do we want to do?
All right, let's start off with...
Reel me back in.
All right, we're going to start off with...
I've seen a lot of different things on the stage.
Stephen Sondheim's early life. Jill, let me know about me right now, please.
Okay,
Look at me here.
About this slightly.
What was that again?
I talked about it just a little bit when you weren't gone, but he was...
That's fine. Well, so I can cut this video for later. This will be better if we start it right now.
He grew up with pretty, well-off parents, only child of those two parents. They divorce. His dad moves on, has 2 kids with someone else. His mom, I guess, was pretty emotionally abusive. Sounds like it took out her hatred of his father on him. And he has described himself in something I read as being, what was it? He described it as like an institutionalized kid. So, like, he was always like at school or doing something, or like, being able to do things and pretty affluent, but didn't have that connection with his mom or parents. Like, he didn't have any emotional connection with anything. Like, he had friends and stuff, but he didn't have an emotional familial connection. And he moved, I don't know if it was upstate New York, somewhere in New York, and they lived next door or near Oscar Hammerstein, who was partners with Richard Rodgers, and they wrote the Oscar and Hammerstein musicals. Oscar Hammerstein, also the lyricist for Showboat, like the original musical of musicals. One of the greats. And he was kind of a mentor for Stephen Sondheim. And Stephen Sondheim had shown him some musical he did at school. And he's like, "What do you think?" And he's like, "Do you want to know what I really think?" He's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "This sucks." But he's like, "This is terrible. It's one of the worst things I've ever read. But I'll tell you why I don't like it, and I'll help you." And he's like, "Okay, cool." And so they did that. And I guess Oscar Hammerstein gave him a... I don't want to say a project, but like homework, and said, write 4 musicals, like different like types of musicals. And he did that. None of them like were produced or anything, but it was like an exercise in writing a musical and like the format and structure of writing shows and stuff like that.
So what was his first gig?
His first gig.
Yeah.
Gig. Like good gig was writing lyrics for West Side Story with Leonard Bernstein, and he didn't want to do it because he wanted to write music and lyrics. He didn't want to be a lyricist, but he did it because plus learning under Oscar Hammerstein was like, no, you're going to learn under Leonard Bernstein, one of the greats. Like, you just do it, and he did it. And as I explained a little bit earlier, he doesn't love the lyrics in it. He doesn't think from what I've read, obviously I'm not speaking for Stephen Sondheim, everyone. It's too flowery, it's too poetic, it's a little too cheesy. He doesn't like cheese. But he still loves talking about relationships.
Yeah, that's a little funny, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's life, I guess, right? Just any sort of relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic, just life. So yeah, West Side Story. And then he did lyrics for Gypsy, which I also mentioned. And I said Ethel Merman didn't want to work with a new composer and lyricist, but they let him do the lyrics. And wrote Everything's Coming Up Roses, wrote the lyrics for that.
I heard you singing that earlier.
Yeah. It's a good belter. Ethel
She's fun
Merman.
to play.
She's a belter.
You can goof on her a little bit and take solace in the fact that no matter what you sound like, you were just kind of making fun of her.
She's easy to caricature.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then you quizzed me earlier, and I totally blanked on it. But like his first composer and lyricist role was "Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum."
Yeah, that one. All right. So go
ahead.
So the reason why I even thought of bringing this up, us getting together and talking about this subject, Stephen Sondheim, was that let me turn this off. Was because I was driving home from the store, and I was listening to NPR, and they were playing an 80th birthday conversation that they had with Stephen Sondheim. 10 years later, I'm listening to it for the first time. And I was thinking, it would be awesome if maybe we'll just, talk about this.
I don't claim to be an expert at anything. I just always
But Sondheim's your
absorb
guy.
what I like.
Sondheim's your guy. I mean,
he is one of my guys, but I don't know every single thing. Like you were quizzing me earlier, and I'm like, I don't know. I like what I like, and I don't even know every Sondheim show backwards and forwards. I could put on, like you said, a little night music, and I could probably sing it from beginning to end. I wouldn't be able to do the lines in between the book.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like being a fan.
But I just sing all the songs.
Sometimes I think like being a fan is actually being allowed to, not get it right. Not know everything all the time. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you're pretty filthy with Sondheim stuff compared to anything else that I can think about.
So. Well, my shuffle has quite a few things in it. Even today, I'd forgotten about a Sondheim show that was in my shuffle, or that wasn't in my shuffle, and I had to add it into my musical shuffle.
Oh yeah, what was that?
Pacific Overtures.
Oh, that's right. You were saying that.
All about it.
When have we done Oscar Hammerstein then? The Mentor?
A little bit. Yeah. So he mentored him. Yeah, we did talk about that.
Is there any more
Oscar
that you
Hammerstein ends up dying. As happens. And
wait.
No, not really. I love Oscar Hammerstein.
Okay, cool. All right, and then Leonard Bernstein.
Yeah, that
was West Side Story. We did talk about that. What was it? So West Side Story, that was his first writing and music gig? Is that what it was? No, it was the other one. That's right. Okay, cool. All right, and then here we have the Hal Prince partnership.
Okay, so that's like moving on to like
these are your notes.
That's like that company is his beginning of that in the 1970s. So like there's some things after. So like this Funny Thing Happened on the Way to Forum. So we didn't talk about comedy tonight.
All right, so that was also the first
in chat,
time.
Ryan Hudson said, "Tell us about buying tickets before the internet."
Can you do that? Is that just too silly a comment for you not to talk about?
I used to sell tickets at Tower. It was a nightmare.
What for? What was it called?
Ticketmaster.
Ew. How much was the surcharge for you going through Ticketmaster?
It depended on the show. It was awful, and the system itself was just terrible.
Let's go back really quick.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Tell me about Oscar Hammerstein. What was he most known for again?
Well, he was most known for being the lyricist for Showboat, which was like one of like the musical of musicals that Ziegfeld Lorenz Ziegfeld basically.
What's the big
changed
songs from that?
Old Man River.
Old Man River.
Old Man River.
Everybody knows that.
Old Man River.
All right.
Let's see. Is it My Man Bill? Old Man River is probably the most famous song.
All right. And what? Any other Oscar Hammerstein jams we might know?
Anything from Oklahoma,
Sure,
where the wind comes sure. down the plain.
Okay.
A different song, our state fair is a great state fair. South Pacific,
sure.
Sound of Music.
So these are all
every song
Oscar
from Sound of Music is Oscar Hammerstein.
And he's just telling him, he's just telling him your stuff's crap. Rewrite 4 different things, and this will help you.
Yeah, like
right,
4
cool.
different types of things. It was like one was like.
All right, Leonard Bernstein. What do we know Leonard Bernstein for?
Leonard Bernstein. Well, he's known for.
Is that putting him on the spot?
He's a composer. He's known for Peter. What is it? Peter and the Wolf with the little animals. Candide. If you don't know Candide, you maybe have heard the overture to Candide.
Yeah, think Bo Derek.
Bo Derek, was that in 10 or something?
Yeah, no, I think it was a different movie. It was Bolero, if I remember correctly.
That is
right?
10 is one of those VHS covers as a kid that I'd see on the rack, and it'd be like no, of no interest to me as like a little girl. I'd be like, but or you'd see the preview before some other movie and be like, what is this? I don't want to see this. But maybe as a little boy, you'd be like, oh, I don't know. Or
all right.
Into women, or not a little girl that's into not women.
All right. So Leonard Bernstein, we've done that one. Okay, cool. What about, all right. So we're back to Hal Prince.
Oh, yeah. So
what was their relationship?
He produced and directed for Stephen Sondheim. Like they had like a partnership like for a little while with different musicals. So like starting with Company. Hal Prince would stage them and kind of have the quote unquote like vision for the stage thing. Hal Prince is actually, if you don't know Hal Prince, you may have heard of Cabaret, and he directed Cabaret on the stage and staged it. And like
Life
came up
is
with
a Cabaret,
like, mirror and like staging of the show. Yeah, yes.
Life is a Cabaret.
Are you
I'm getting the banners together.
Singing it?
What?
Nothing.
What was that now?
I said, are you goading me into singing it? That's one of those where I love Liza Minnelli, so I can handle the movie version of those songs. But if you've never heard the original cast of Cabaret, I forget the woman's name, but her name is Jill something. Now I can't remember her last name, but she's wonderful as Elsa. No, whatever her name is.
Whatever her name is.
I'm not Cabaret isn't my. I don't know it as much because it's one I'd maybe watch now again more. But when you're younger, it's heavier. There's like abortion in it and all this stuff. It's like
that sounds yeah. All right, very good. Company, 1970. That was when I was born.
Oh, the year.
Yeah, you was born. Yeah.
Company, all about upper middle class white people problems.
Is this the one I like the most?
The Bobby, baby, Bobby, booby. That one? Is that your favorite?
Is that the one with the Lane Stritch song? Is
yes.
That the one? Yeah.
Ladies Who Lunch. Yes,
that's the
Lane
one.
Stritch is in it, yes.
Yeah, guys, just to let you know, that's hilarious. It's all about what? Like this dude not wanting to like commit, basically, right?
It's about a dude he's like 30. It's set on his 35th birthday. And, he's a dude, he dates, and all of his friends are couples. And they all have their own opinions on marriage, and some are going through divorce. Again, this is all upper class white people problems. That's how it was cast, so don't get on me. I'm just telling you how it is.
La-di-da. Look, I drink at night. Look at,
yes,
I drink during a plague, everybody. What Sondheim gonna make a song
everybody laugh. one of my favorite songs. I love Elaine Stritch. She plays a really good drunk. Actually, she doesn't play a drunk. She was drunk. So I had a DVD, which I don't have right now, which I was talking to you about earlier today. But these people were going to start this series of documenting cast recordings. I mean, this is so random and like very like specific, but they started with Company. When they recorded their cast recording of Company, they recorded it. They did this little behind the scenes thing. And it's okay. It's if you're into it, it's very interesting to see these people. And who is the redhead little actress? I say little actress on I want to say One Day at a Time, but I'm not sure if it was One Day at a Time.
Valerie Burton.
No, not Valerie Bertinelli. This is like a redheaded Bob.
You mean Anne Romano?
Maybe. I don't know.
Bonnie Franklin?
You know what? Maybe it was Bonnie. I'm going to look right now.
What are you going to leave? Wait, I want to ask you a question. What was I known for? Like, what was the drug that I was into?
Say what?
As Stephen Sondheim, did they and any of those books back there talk about like what he was into in the 70s and whatnot? Was it just coke like everybody else?
Probably. I don't know that he was into like psychedelics or anything like that.
Where could we have Coffee Junkie 79 asking? Where could we see Company without going to the theater?
So first, okay, I'm going to keep that on the screen so I remember where I'm going with this thought piece.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I need to do that more often.
So as a kid, I would listen to different albums, let's say. I remember this with Tommy, the Who's Tommy specifically. I would listen to it. Like, this is what I did as a kid. I would play.
I like this. We're going from Sondheim to Who.
To my dad's CD collection, okay? So I'm listening to the Who's Tommy, and it's just songs and the lyrics. So, and in the booklet, it had the lyrics. So I would like look at the lyrics and like go along with the song and stuff. And I'm kind of making up my own plot in my head because I didn't quite know what the plot was exactly. You just like pieced it together with the lyrics. And then when I finally saw the really cheesy, horrible movie, with Jack Nicholson and Anne Margaret rolling in the beans and stuff, it's like, oh, like I got it pretty right on. So that's what I would do with a lot of musicals I would listen to, because I wouldn't get to see all of them if it wasn't a movie version of it. And the first time I heard Company, Yule and I had remember XM, our XM radio.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Long time. And they had this Broadway channel, and it was set out in New York, and they just played all this different random stuff, which is also where I became familiar with the Apple Tree, which I also I don't know if I highly recommend it. It's an Alan Alda vehicle.
Alan Alda from
the 60s, but it's interesting. We won't go into that. But so because of that station, I got into lots of different things. But so you can't see the original version. I have on DVD a version of Company starring Raul Esparza. And
who's that?
It's some guy. I don't know. I'm sure he's in stuff. That's who it is. So you can see it. It's staged slightly differently than the original production. So the revival of Sweeney Todd I saw a few years ago was everybody that was a character also played an instrument. So all the music was the people on stage playing, which in my opinion diminishes the whole thing, because Stephen Sondheim is a lot about the music. But so this version of Company, which you can probably get it on DVD, and also Coffee Junkie, you can borrow it from me if, when we meet again. You're more than happy to like take it and borrow it or whatever. But I'm sure it's orderable. She used to have a crush on Alan Alda. Wow. Interesting. He's a type, he's a type. But yeah, so Company, there is a version you can see. It's not my favorite version. I prefer the original cast recording of it and just enjoying my own version of it in my head. And also the guy who plays Bobby. Okay, this is another story. So the guy who played Bobby, I got to go to his name because I can't remember his name. Dean Jones. He was like a soap star at the time. Do you know who Dean Jones was, Yule?
No.
No, he was in Herbie, right? He's the guy from the Herbie movies.
Oh, he was in that
right?
guy?
Right. Dean Jones. Herbie the Love Bug. Yes, Dean Jones from the Love Bug.
What?
Was the original Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby, baby.
And Yul and I have our own Bobby. Bobby. Yeah, Dean Jones. And so he was, I guess, going through a divorce or something at the time, or he was going through like a midlife crisis and decided to do this musical. And he has a wonderful voice, which is why I love the original cast recording. And his the ending song of the show called Being Alive, which is his big song at the end of him kind of like, I don't know, realizing that maybe he can give a committed relationship a chance. It's unclear whether he can actually do it, but he's going to try. He's wonderful. He's so good. And then like 2 weeks later, he quits. Like he was the star for the opening, did it for 2 weeks and then quit. And then this other guy named, what was his name? Larry Kurt took over. But yeah, Dean Jones, he was really good. So I highly recommend the original cast recording. But if you do really want to see it, check out the DVD.
All right. Is that everything you want to say about it as far as like company?
I guess we didn't really talk about it. Stars Elaine Stritch is one of the characters. Her character is an older woman who's rich because she's been married like 3 or 4 times, and she's just a rich drunk bitch, and she's great in it. Oh yeah, that's what I want to talk about. In the cast recording of this that they filmed, they waited to do her big the Ladies Who Lunch number till the end of the evening. So as you're watching this cast recording, it's 1970, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone's smoking. Everyone is drinking the whole time. Like as it goes on, they're like getting more drunk and more drunk. And Elaine Stritch going to do Ladies Who Lunch is a little too in character because she's wasted. Like she can't hit the notes, and they had to record it like a day or two later, like before one of the shows, because she was
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, she wasn't getting it. But it actually created a little bit of drama for the little documentary they were making out of nowhere. It was like, oh, like Elaine Stritch is not going to be able to make it. She's too wasted. But everyone was like having a really good time. I'm sure they went and had a party after even. But yeah, Company. Lots of fun songs. If you're somebody, I guess we'll get into most of the stuff is about relationships.
This guy has this guy has it right as far as I'm concerned. Don't get married, or if you do, just accept the fact that you're going to do it a bunch of times. And it's a game.
I'm not sure that was his point. I think more, I don't know, like we can go into Little Night Music because that one is also about relationships and infidelity.
Hold on. All right. A Little Night Music. All right. So this is the one about, like you said, it was infidelity. This one guy is this the guy with the A Weekend in a Country?
Yeah. You're one of your favorite songs.
And this is
it's more of an earworm song.
Yeah. And this is the one, this also has Elaine Stritch in it?
No. So
a woman that has a voice kind of like
in Company, I believe Beth Howland's in Company as well. And also in
Alice.
She's Amy in Company. Yeah, so Alice is in Company, and also
not Alice. It's
not
Velma,
Alice
or whatever her name is. Thelma, whatever.
Beth Howland, the actress. She's in both.
She's in both. Huh?
She's the one but does no, she sings the song. Oh no. See, I'm mixing up. You're thinking of the what's the song? Not Weekend in the Country, but the other one from Company, which is a Not Getting Married song. She's like gonna leave the guy at the altar.
No, not that one. I'm thinking of the one where no.
Okay.
In this one, there's a song where he's describing how lovely his Anne is.
Mm-hmm.
And then the woman who's opposite him is like, "Oh, yeah, Gertrude," and she's like, "Oh, how positively this sounds like a horrible situation." Isn't that this one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
yes.
yeah. So
because
and that's not Elaine Stritch though.
She's not in that one. No.
It's whoever that woman is has this kind of mouthy voice.
Hermione Gingold.
Yeah.
Oh, you're thinking of the lady from the mom from Mary Poppins. What is her name? Her name is Glynis Johns. You're thinking of Glynis Johns.
Oh, how wonderful!
That song from Mary Poppins. She's the mom,
okay,
but she plays. Let's see, Little Night Music. What can I say? It's from a different era. Again, it's about rich people problems.
So this is like a like a World of Courting to Garp, like a John Irving story. That's what he does. All these kind of like white people problems, the suburbs, or maybe
this older dude has a new wife who's like 18, maybe even 17, like whatever the legal age is to get married. He's married this girl, and she hasn't even had sex with him yet. Like he's like still trying to woo her and convince her like sex is cool, and like she's like a girl, right? Like she's just not. They are mentally totally different. And he has this former lover that he just happens to come across again, and they start their affair again. And he gets invited to the country, a weekend in the country. And then there's this other man who has been having an affair with the Glynis Johns character. She's an actress, by the way. She just has like men. She has relationships. Basically, her relationship is just with this other guy who's cheating on his wife. There's all sorts of infidelity and cheating going on, but in the end, almost everybody ends up where they should be, except the lawyer and his wife just suffer together because he got dumped by his lady, and she never had anything anyway. So they kind of just end up suffering together. But there's a lot of good music in it. What else can we say about Little Night Music? I don't know. It's I'm
just proud of myself for knowing the difference between Company and a Little Night Music.
Yeah, it's not my favorite. I mean, as far as like just a lot of his stuff is written in different ways. So like this is written like I'm not good with this stuff, but I want to say like 4/4 time or whatever a waltz is.
I hear you.
It's much more of like it's like that style. Whereas then a little bit later on, I get to Pacific Overtures, and that's in a Japanese style. If you were listening to it as like an American, you'd be like, oh, that sounds like Asian influenced or Japanese influenced.
I say appropriated.
Japanese, you might be like, well, that sounds like nothing. Like it sounds like someone trying to Japanese. It's like, well, yes, but it's in that style, and it was set, and also the staging was also a kabuki style, with men playing male and female roles. Again, though, good music, a lot of good music in that show. But it's set in the 18 something, and it's about the westernization of Japan, like getting forced to be not isolationists.
All right.
That stuff. So that's Pacific Overtures, which then brings us to Sweeney Todd.
Oh, excellent. Sweeney Todd, the first time I knew about this was Neil Gaiman was doing some graphic novel based on it.
I don't think I've ever read or seen that.
That was like when he was doing Sandman and stuff like that. So like the mid-90s, I guess. I was like, ooh, Neil Gaiman's doing some Sweeney Todd. Oh yeah, it's a play.
I don't think you've ever shown that to me or anything.
I'm just like, I don't have it.
Oh. I don't remember you ever saying that before.
Surprise.
I'm not upset. I'm just Sweeney Todd, also about relationships, but less about the frivolous nature of relationships. If you ask Stephen Sondheim, he'd say it's about revenge. Hal Prince, on the other hand, didn't even really want to stage Sweeney Todd because he thought it was like frivolous macabre. Like it's kind of like it didn't mean enough for him. Like he had to, so for Hal Prince, he kind of set it, or he staged it in like the Industrial Revolution time. And his idea was like that time, that era produced these sorts of Sweeney Todds, like that, like being oppressed in that way will make you like this, will make you like Sweeney Todd. Whereas Stephen Sondheim's idea is anybody at any time can be Sweeney Todd because it's just about pure, straight revenge. And that's it. That's it. Revenge.
Revenge.
And the dire consequences that could follow.
But the most important thing about Sweeney Todd is the fact that Angela Lansbury is in it, right?
Yes. And she plays Miss Lovett. And Miss Lovett is...
You were saying she's a pretty messed up woman.
She's messed up. She knows... I don't know if I want to, like, spoil Sweeney Todd if no one's ever seen it. I mean, there is, like, a kind of a twist-ish thing at the end. Like, there are reveals. So, I mean, I don't know if I want to say everything. I mean, I know it's been around forever. But, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, spoilers, everybody.
No, yeah, I guess I could just say spoilers. Spoilers for Sweeney Todd if you've never seen it, I guess. I don't know.
Go ahead. Talk about what you want. I want to hear it.
Coffee Junkie says, Sweeney Todd seems like it's about abuse and obsession to me. Abuse? I'm not sure about abuse, but definitely obsession and the revenge of it. Like, so I was talking to Yul about this earlier. He gets... So the upshot is his wife gets lured and raped by this powerful judge character, and Sweeney Todd gets sent away to Australia as like a criminal. I don't remember if he was framed or not framed. Who cares? It doesn't matter. He's away for like 20 years, let's say. They had a girl. He comes back, and all he wants is his wife and child, or to find his wife and child, or to find out what happened to them. And he's just a crushed man at this point. And he comes across Miss Lovett, who seems to know all these things. And, the thing about Miss Lovett is like, she knows everything from the get-go. She knows everything. She knows what happened to his wife. She knows, she manipulates him from the beginning to get what she wants, which is a companion, for herself. Basically, that's it. Like, she's always liked Sweeney Todd because they lived above her freaking pie shop, him and his wife. Anyway, Miss Lovett's awful, but great. Like, but funny. That's the thing about Sweeney Todd as a show. There's so many messed up moments. Like, the sailor character goes to buy a bird for Joanna because she's like singing to these birds. That's the daughter who's been, I want to say kidnapped by the judge, but taken in by this judge character for her whole life. And he buys this bird, and the bird is blind. He's like, why is the bird singing all the time? The bird seller, just weird bird seller. And it's like, oh, the bird's blind. And just this weird messed up moment, just buying a bird. But then it has moments of funny, which a lot of it comes from Miss Lovett. But I find that interesting. That's the part of the manipulation even of the show. Like, Miss Lovett's one of the most evil characters. Like, Sweeney Todd isn't even... I don't know if I'd say he's even the most evil character in the show. I mean, yeah, he's the murderer. But it was pretty much her idea. I mean, he snapped at Pirelli when Pirelli knew who he was. But when Miss Lovett knew what he was willing to do, man, she pushed. And she pushed good and got what she wants. Her pie business is doing great. Sweeney Todd, yeah, still obsessed, still wants his revenge, and he gets his revenge. And in that obsession, bad things come of that. Do you know what happened, Jewel?
No, I don't.
Do you want me to just say? I mean, Ryan says he's seen it.
Yeah, go ahead. Everybody knows.
Whatever. There's this beggar woman throughout the whole thing that Miss Lovett's kind of shooing away the whole time, or like she's just kind of, like she's a beggar woman. At the beginning, she says, "You want to push me parsley?" Talking about like giving her a bang.
That's right.
Gross.
Push me parsley. Push me parsley.
Push me parsley. Really gross. And Miss Lovett knows exactly who she is the whole time, and who she is Sweeney Todd's wife. He's been wanting to know what happened to his wife this whole time. It's this crazy lady that's been like, she was drugged and raped, basically made insane and thrown back out on the street, and her daughter taken from her and her thrown out on the street, and she's become this crazy whore beggar woman. And in a fit of rage and desperation towards the end, because all this stuff's happening, she gets in the way and he slits her throat and throws her in the oven. And then Miss Lovett, that kind of like that even surprises Miss Lovett. Like she didn't think it was gonna go there, right? Like she like, and then it finally comes out like, that was your wife. And then he's like, what, you bitch? And he kills Miss Lovett. Like, you knew the whole time, you whore. And tosses her in the oven.
All right. I like
Pretty
that.
sad, but Joanna and the sailor who likes her, they get away. And I was talking about this with you earlier. Like Joanna, that's the daughter of Sweeney Todd. She's kind of I feel bad for her. She's kind of a nothing character. That, though, I did say, like, yeah, go with the sailor. Like, who cares if you love this guy? Get away from this old judge who wants to marry you, who's like 75. Get out of there. But so they, I guess, I mean, they go. Who knows if it's a happy ending or not, but at least they get out of there. But great music. Really, the music of Sweeney Todd just gives you that vibe.
The bell whistle. That's what gives me the vibe.
Yeah. This is it. The steam. Is it a steam whistle?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Like in that Always Sunny episode when they're making the dresses, it's like they get the steam whistle. Do you remember that episode?
I do remember that. Yes.
Funny.
All right. Are you ready for the next part?
Hold on. Let's look at if I did write some notes about Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, Sweeney Todd.
The deeper theme, yeah, for
wasn't the dude Robert Englund in like Sweeney Todd? Didn't they do a movie on that?
Oh, I don't know.
So. I think so, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Yeah, I have like I said. All
right.
I barely any notes.
All right, now we're going into Jilby Pill's favorite.
Do I have something in the park with George there somewhere?
Boom. Boom, baby.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. But the first time I saw A Sunday in the Park with George, I didn't like it. I think I was too young for it. I found it boring. It wasn't what I was expecting. I was into the more Rodgers and Hammerstein, like dance number sort of musicals. And Sunday in the Park with George is just much slower paced. And like I said earlier, I think before you came on, it's about an artist making art and the obsession that comes with that. So it's another show about obsession in a completely different way. Coffee Junkie. Mm-hmm. Question for Coffee Junkie if she's ever seen or like Sunday in the Park with George.
Oh yeah, and I'm going to ask anybody in chat right now. Hold on.
It stars Mandy Patinkin and Bernadette Peters. They originated it. They workshopped the show with Sondheim. Great stuff. And Mandy Patinkin is so great. And when Sondheim originally wrote it, he wrote it to be like a soprano and like a baritone or a bass. Like the woman was the soprano but when he cast Mandy Patinkin, he changed them so that the male had the higher parts. And the Bernadette Peters was like the baritone or whatever her tone was. Again, I'm not really good with that stuff. But he flipped the roles, so to speak. Not so to speak. He flipped the roles as far as musically goes, as far as male and female go. So that's interesting. But it's all about Georges Seurat, the painter of that painting. Not exactly that painting. Oh, she's never seen it. I recommend it. That's again, I have it on DVD. You might be able to find it. I don't think it's made anymore.
All right, so check this out. Isn't this the one that also had Brent Spiner in it?
Yes.
So Data, Next Generation Star Trek fans.
Yeah.
You can see him for like a minute or something, right?
He's in it for longer than a minute. He's in the whole show.
Oh, okay. Just in the background, right?
There are scenes with others besides Mandy Patinkin and Bernadette Peters. And
so it's about him. A surrealist painting? Is that what it is?
No, it's called not dawdleism, but it's called something. It's all little dots. It's called. Does anybody remember what that is?
Come on, Ryan. Let us know.
It's dots. I'm just gonna. I have my iPad right here. I'm just gonna look up Georges Seurat. But it's about him and his love. It's a made up story, but Hold on here. The pointillism. No, I knew it was something like dottilism, but pointillism.
So pointillism. Let's go back to that. So this is a comic book. They were doing a classic painting
off of his very famous painting called "A Sunday Afternoon on the Isle of La Grande Jatte," which is what the musical is based off. The musical is based off of this painting, if you've ever seen it, and it has a lot of. It's just a tableau like that, but it's bigger and has more people in it.
And it's where those books behind you come from.
Yes, the blue and white. It's called Stephen Sondheim Finishing the Hat, and then Look, I Made a Hat. That's a song in the show. Finishing the Hat. Look, I made a hat. Again, it's all about making art. It sounds really cheesy, and I'm sure it is to most people. It's a wonderful show. One of my favorite songs, Sunday, is in that show. Sunday. Most people might find it boring, but it's a beautiful song. The staging is very beautiful. It looks like a painting. Sorry, go ahead. You'll ask me.
Go ahead. I want to hear how they move in and out of the painting. Please tell me.
Well, they have the set that kind of looks like the painting, and then like little things come in and out. And the people in the painting are the characters of the show, including Georges Seurat, who he's coming to the La Grande Jatte and sketching these people every day for his painting that he's making. And it's about his relationship with Bernadette Peters. It's basically the girl he's banging, but she wants more, and he's into his art, like, sure, you want to go out, right? Like, you want to go out. She wants to go to the shows, go to the Moulin Rouge or whatever. He's like, I'm doing my art. Like, you signed up for this. You knew what I was. And he's basically like, you knew what I was. And she wants more, and she finally... she gets pregnant, and she knows that he's not going to do anything about it, so she finds a baker and marries him. And then the second act is Georges Seurat's, what we know to be Georges Seurat's son, is an artist in the 80s. And then all the characters from the first act are now playing these different characters in the 80s. With the Georges Seurat, I don't remember the kid's name, but the Mandy Patinkin also playing his son. That character having pressures in the 80s art scene. Again, rich white people problems.
All right.
But the music is wonderful.
Anything else you want to say about this?
Let's see. Something Parker George has Brett Spiner in it. There's a couple people in this show that also show up in Into the Woods. Jack's mother being one. Little Red Riding Hood from Into the Woods is in this. Very minor role. The guy who plays the wolf in Prince Charming is also in Sunday in the Park with George as this soldier guy who walks around. So in the painting of La Grande Jatte, there's these two soldiers that are standing in the background, and this one guy plays one of the soldiers and always has this like cardboard soldier next to him, like the whole time. Like he's playing like both of these soldiers. It's just it's a very weird. I don't know. Again, if you're into like artistic things, I'd check it out. And it's Mandy Patinkin and Bernadette Peters. Do you have that, Andrea? Maybe not. Man, I wish you would have clipped like a small. I was looking at something else. Andrea Martin starred in something musical, y'all. I was looking.
Oh, really?
And then it didn't surprise me when I saw it because of that clip you showed me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, she can obviously sing and is obviously very talented.
Right.
We're subject now, but yeah, Sunday in the Park with George. I'm not really sure what else to say about it. It's not for everybody. Definitely not for everybody, but
maybe it's actually
act, and there's a song in the second act.
But maybe it's actually for people that aren't actually into musicals, you know?
I'm not sure about that. I think for people who aren't into musicals, it would be very boring.
What if someone's like into the visual aspect of, you know, the concept of music and
it's not I would say it doesn't change as much to make it visually interesting for someone who's only interested in visuals. It's all about, and this Something in the Park is really all about the lyrics also, unlike the music. Really the lyrics. It's
all right. What's this thing here?
And
James? What's this? James Lapine?
James Lapine. That's the guy he did Into the Woods with.
Oh, that's it?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. He did Sunday in the Park. He produced it. So Hal Prince did Company and like Up to Pacific Overtures and Sweeney Todd. And then Merrily We Roll Along, and then Sunday in the Park, he got a new producer with James Lapine or Lapine.
All right, let me interrupt for a second. Stephen Sondheim, his stuff doesn't really do well financially, does it?
Not usually.
So he was really churning it out when he was working in the early days doing that.
I was reading some story about when he was doing West Side Story originally. Like I don't think he was really given credit for a lot of the lyrics, and then finally, like Leonard Bernstein, like gave him credit for the lyrics because he pretty much wrote all of the lyrics for West Side Story. And then like they had like a 3-1 split, something like Leonard Bernstein got 3% of the back end or whatever, and what's that say?
Oh, you should keep going.
That's good. That's cool though. I don't remember what I was saying. I get easily distracted.
Yeah. Oh, damn. Too bad. We're talking about James Lapine.
Listening to me.
And we were talking about
Stephen Sondheim. Like his stuff doesn't make money.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he doesn't make money, does he?
Oh yeah. So Leonard Bernstein was getting like 3%, and Sondheim got 1%. And Leonard Bernstein, after finally giving him credit for the lyrics, offered him a 2-2 split. Like, I'll get 2%, you get 2%. And at the time, he's like young and stupid. He's like, no, I'm fine with my 1%. But he's like, he just wished he had that extra percent later on. I don't know. I can only imagine. Like, how many times has the song Tonight been played, or any so name a song from West Side Story. I think pretty much Ryan know West Side Story. Like everyone knows West Side Story. Yeah, but right?
The thing is, though, is West Side Story.
Go Red Jet all the way.
West Side Story isn't something he likes to hang his hat on, right?
Oh. But that wasn't my question or my point.
Well, no. When Stephen Sondheim is left to his own devices.
Right. No,
does he make money?
Not really. That's why, like, Stephen Sondheim's musical would be like Sunday in the Park with George,
Right.
Yeah, Maria. When I was a kid, I would always fast forward through Maria. And does everybody know the Twin Peaks connection? I bet Coffee Junkie. What's the Twin Peaks connection? There's 2 of them.
Wait, there's 2 of them?
There's All 2 of them.
I know one. Okay, so I'm going to steal it. Russ Tamblyn is Dr. Jacoby, and he's the only jet that can dance, right? Is that it?
No, there's plenty of jets that can dance.
I don't know. I don't know West Side Story.
Voice in the movie because they dubbed like everybody's voice in that freaking movie because like that was the thing to do. And Russ Tamblyn was like, "What?" They even dubbed Rita Moreno's voice in that movie. And the lady who did her voice was even like, "What? Why am I dubbing Rita Moreno's voice?" Who is the same woman that anyway, famous dubber of voices. But like all of these people can sing and they were all dubbed.
That's twice. One day, yesterday, I brought up Rita Moreno. And today you brought up Rita Moreno. I just want you to know that.
Rita Moreno is great.
Yeah, she's wonderful. So I feel pretty.
She's also topped him in King and I, another Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, by the way, starring Yul Brenner.
Great name.
Also, hey, you know who another Yul is? Survivor Yul.
Mm-hmm. All right, so hold on a second. So if it scares
She's scared of Twin Peaks, Coffee Junkie's never seen Twin Peaks? You've never made her see Twin Peaks, Yul?
No, not at all.
I'm shocked.
We were running in different circles that,
I guess that makes sense. You're so much older. Okay, so the connection, you got the first one, Russ Tamblyn.
All right, so I'm going to steal the second one then also. I'm going to guess.
You know this.
Is it the guy who plays Ben Horn? Is that who it is?
Yes.
What's his name?
His name is, now I'm blanking. Why am I blanking on his name? But it's the guy who plays Tony.
All right, very good.
Bamer.
Richard
Bamer.
Yeah.
Who got me on it because he's the one that sings Maria. Except he's not singing Maria because he's dubbed. Everybody in that movie's dubbed because it was someone's job to just dub. That was their job. They just did it. Jerks.
Okay. Let's end with Into the Woods.
Into the woods.
Well, not end, but this will be the last main one.
And home before dark.
Now, what is Into the Woods about?
Into the Woods is about Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, Jack and the Beanstalk, Rapunzel, these characters called the baker and his wife, and all of these stories are intertwined.
So it's Wicked?
Nights. It's not Wicked. Wicked is about the whore of a wicked witch and her whore life, not Into the Woods. How dare you? Though I feel like, man, like I was thinking about Into the Woods, and like the smallest I would say the smallest indiscretion from the baker's wife, but she did cheat on him, and she pays the price. It's like a horror movie. I love Into the Woods. It's just a lot of fun. If you like fairy tales at all, it's fun. The music is quite wonderful.
Is that one character meant to be kind of like Jewish or something?
What character? The baker?
I guess
played
so.
by Christine, who's very Jewish, I guess. I mean, that's.
There's even
the guy who played him. I don't know.
There's even like winks and nods to the fact that character is being played. I mean, at least that's how it. Maybe I'm wrong. I just was kind of curious.
More of the personality of the guy who's playing the character, but I don't think so. I don't really agree with you on that, but I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't sure if it was written specifically for, like, someone that was Jewish. It just seemed like there was something kind of. Anyway, I was just curious.
Kind of a not alpha male kind of character. Not
definitely
not a beta B or anything, but just hey, he had a curse put on him by the Wicked Witch. Like, give him a break.
Yeah, give him a break, man.
Because of the witch. His dad was stole from the witch earlier, so his sister's Rapunzel. There's a lot of interplay going on, but it's a fun show.
All right, who's the high-pitched young woman that's playing? Who's going into the woods? Into the woods.
That's everybody. That's the cast.
All right, but is it like little? You said there was Little Red Riding Hood.
No, it would be the Cinderella character probably. Her name is Kim. Hold on, let me click on the.
That voice is very, you really remember it.
Broadway production. Anyway, I believe it's Kim Crosby. Yeah, Kim Crosby, who plays Cinderella. I think she has the high, and Bernadette Peters.
She plays a witch, though, right?
She plays the witch, yes.
She's not a good person.
She's tricking the baker and the wife to get all these different things that she needs. So she needs hair the color of gold, Rapunzel's hair. She needs a cape as red as blood, obviously Red Riding Hood. They need a cow as white as the milk, which is the cow that Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk has. So there's all this stuff going, and she needs that stuff to break the curse that's on her that happened when her shit got stolen from the baker's dad. She got turned into an old hag. And there's like this kind of famous scene at the end of the first act? I'm trying to remember when it is, but she changes from the hag into the beautiful witch again. Bernadette Peters with her cleavage. We've talked about this a couple of days ago.
Man, what great cleavage it is, too.
It's like the staging of it's kind of, oh shoot, I just spilled a little bit of my wine.
Yeah.
It like splashed over this way, away from
Stop banging your desk too, by the way.
Oh, okay. I really am. Into the Woods. It's just, I don't know. There's the Jack and the Beanstalk. He has this solo that he sings called Giants in the Sky. I love that song.
Oh, I like that too. It goes with giants in the sky, right? Something like that.
What?
No, never mind.
What's that from? What are you referencing?
I'm doing like the Doors, Riders on the Storm. Anyway.
That was a weird connection.
It's the best I could come up with.
Okay,
all right.
But the second half of Into the Woods, people die. I'll just put it that way. Like, it doesn't, like, happy things, like, because of choices that they all make to, like, live, quote, happily ever after, the happily ever after isn't really happy. That's kind of the point of the show.
Man, that seems like the point in all of this stuff.
And the point was, like, children will listen. Basically, like, you know, be a good example for your kids.
Was this financially successful?
I think so. Not sure. I think it was probably one of his more successful ones.
He's like, oh, that's enough with.
I just don't know nor care about. I mean, do we want to talk about his probably less successful show? Does everybody know Assassins?
That's the one with Antonio Banderas, right?
No, Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, I think that he was in a movie
called Assassins. No, but it does star Neil Patrick Harris. But it's about presidential.
Doogie Howser.
Yeah, Doogie Howser. He was also in a version. He was also in something called, I forget. He's in some other. He did a lot of Broadway. Excuse me, burp.
So Assassins.
Assassins is about presidential assassins and the woman who not just presidential assassins, because I think one of Charlie Manson's, there's like a trio with one of Charlie Manson's
Squeaky Fromm.
Yeah, I think it was like Squeaky Fromm. Another woman who was obsessed with somebody, like, anyway, but it's mainly presidential assassins. The N-word is used in that musical
for the Lincoln time, right?
John Wilkes Booth says that. You know what? I need to look that up because I need to see who played that, because I think. Okay, let's see. Okay, no, I can't go there. I need cast. I need the cast.
I don't know what this
my gosh,
means.
you know who played Michael Severus? Played John Wilkes Booth. Another Michael Severus. Sorry,
that's all over the place.
My own thing. Like, Michael Severus pops up in my world for some reason. I thought it was somebody that I had seen before. For some reason, I thought it was David C. Riley. I don't know why. It could have been, but I don't see his name listed under the.
All right, rein it in, Jill. Rein it in.
Rein it in. I don't know how to rein it in.
All right, so
it's his birthday. He's 90 years old.
And another Star Trek connection is what? It's also William Shatner's birthday, everybody.
Oh.
And just to let you know, if you're on the East Coast right now, it's my birthday right now too.
Oh, if you're on the East Coast.
Yeah.
That's right.
23rd, baby.
Where's your birthday present that I gave you?
It's in the other room.
I Instagrammed about it, everyone.
Yes, let's get that.
At Jill B. Pill.
Hold on, I'll get that.
Coffee Junkie says Pinky Boots or Hedwig. Is that in reference to Neil Patrick Harris? I haven't really seen those ones.
Oh, it doesn't say
Double Pill. I'm a snob when it comes to jukebox musicals. So, I mean, I've seen Jersey Boys and, you know, I get it, but it's just not my thing. Like, if I want to listen to doo-wop songs, I'll put on, like, a real doo-wop album. I don't need to listen to the musical version of it.
What about Mamma Mia?
It kind of walks that line because it's kind of a mix of jukebox songs and original songs. But it has fun original songs. So I need to stay more Stephen Sondheim focused here. Man, check out Stephen Sondheim, everyone.
Yeah, check me out, everybody. Jill, since I'm here right now,
kind of snobbish, not snobbish, but like his lyrics are very intricate. Yes, Joel, sorry. Go ahead.
Since I'm here right now, what is my favorite production you enjoyed the most?
Ask me that question again.
What production do you enjoy the most?
What production do I enjoy the most?
Sondheim related. I don't care about those other people that just put on those.
Well, I'm sorry, but it's not a Little Night Music.
Ditties.
It's
Okay, well, I was wrong.
It's going to be either Sweeney Todd or Sunday in the Park with George, depending on the day.
Sweeney Todd. She likes.
Like, I can put on, Everything's Coming Up Roses and like dance around and belt it out in the kitchen. Like, and same with songs from West Side Story or, but as far as a show from beginning to end, those two probably. I've never seen Pacific Overtures. I would like to have seen it. It's supposedly very hard to stage if you want to keep it kind of true to how was originally conceived. But I think the music in it's really wonderful, and I like the idea of it. But again, that definitely wasn't popular because nobody wanted to go see a musical about the westernization of Japan. Like, no one gave a crap. But I think it was at the anniversary of that time or whatever. But still, it was like, what was the question? Yeah, Sweeney Todd, Sunday in the Park with George. Those are from beginning to end. I think they have a concept and they're good. I think Sweeney Todd's great. Again, I've never seen the movie. I won't see the movie. I don't care to see the movie. And same with Into the Woods. Don't want to see the movie. Haven't seen it. I have a stage version with mostly the original cast that I like to watch. And I keep it at that. And I listen to my musical shuffle, which is heavily Sondheim, heavily Oscars and Hammerstein, and other fun things. I'll throw out a random recommendation for Coffee Junkie if she's never seen The Drowsy Chaperone. I got to see that in New York, and I thought it was just wonderful. It's a musical for musical fans. It's just kind of fun. And what's Georgette from Mary Tyler Moore Show? What's her name? Can you remember her name, Yul? Georgette with the voice. She's in that. But it's so much fun, and there's just some really great songs in it. I don't know. You rein me in, Yul. I could go on, keep talking.
Oh, no. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I will probably clip off that beginning there where I screwed up.
Oh, man. Well, I was just like, I didn't know what to do. I had no idea.
You did fine. Just keep it going.
I tried.
Keep it going. We'll get back and I'll clip it. It will sound great. It will,
if you say so.
Whatever. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If anybody checks this out after the fact, let us know in the comments down below what your favorite Sondheim production is. Me personally, it's Company. Good night, everybody.
Night.